Well, I don't think anybody wants to fight him. I think the plan was to have Hamza Shiraz, isn't it?
His last fight was against the guy who had 32 losses.
Yeah, I think his 14-0 is not quite the same as Janibek's 16-0.
Look, Kanuly's going to take care of him pretty quickly. Easily.
Any chance? What do we think the chance of Anauel is?
If this guy was as good, we'd have heard about him.
Box Lives is 100% for Janibek. Welcome back to BoxCast. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the upcoming fight between Janibek Alimkhanuly and Anauel Ngamissengue. I'll work out of saying the names. I hope I've pronounced those correctly. This middleweight contest taking place on the 5th of April 2025 in Astana, Kazakhstan. And it's for two belts, I think, the IBF and the WBO middleweight championships. Let me start with the tail of the tape. So Janibek has 16 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, 16 fights in total, 11 wins by KO. He's age 31. He's approximately 6 foot tall, 182 centimeters. 5 foot 11 and a half exactly. And he's got a 71.5 inch reach, 182 centimeters. Anauel has got 14 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. He's had 14 fights in total, 9 wins by KO. He's age 29. His height is 5 foot 9.5 inches, 176 centimeters. And don't actually have his reach. So if you know that, let us know. It's taking place in middleweight, so it's 160 pounds, 72.5 kilos. Janibek is a southpaw and Ngamissengue is an orthodox fighter. So Janibek we know, we've had on the channel before, Simon, but Anauel, Andy, as we're going to call him, is a new one to us. So, but they're both unbeaten fighters. So Anauel is from the Congo originally, but he fights out of France. And Janibek is Kazakh, although he's resident in California, USA. So it's Janibek defending his titles. What do you think?
Could they not find an opponent for Janibek?
Well, I don't think anybody wants to fight him. I think the plan was to have Hamza Shiraz, isn't it? Was going to come up if he'd managed to beat Carlos Adames. But I think his disappointing performance there has put a fly in the ointment.
I think, is it just getting Janibek out?
Yeah.
Against the guy's a top 15 fighter.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think he only fought outside of France once in Poland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he hasn't got quite the resume of
Janibek,
so let's be fair.
His last fight was against the guy who had 32 losses.
Yeah.
So I think his biggest win is against Fyodor Shikazian. I'm just looking at his record now, and then he beat a guy who had 40 losses, a guy who only had 4 fights, a guy who had 20 losses and 6 wins, a guy who had 40 losses and 8 wins, a guy who had 39 losses and 8 wins. So, he hasn't fought great opposition.
Yeah, I think his 14-0 is not quite the same as Janibek's 16-0.
God, no. But you never know with these French fighters. Look what happened to... what's his name?
Oh, Mexican friend.
Yeah.
Well, they're having a rematch, isn't it?
Yeah, they are having a rematch. So
Bruno Saras.
Yeah, so you never know.
With Munguia.
And this could be a problem for Janibek is just taking his eye off the ball.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem with this is if he takes it easy. Because he didn't against Mihailovic, but I think that's because they basically, his coach and him were very disrespectful to both Janibek, to Igor Klimas, his manager, and their team.
Oh, mate, that fight, Janibek could have ended it in the first round. He wanted to punish him.
Purposefully punished him.
Yeah.
So if that version of Janibek turns up, it's hard to see.
I think Janibek will want to get rid of this guy pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very... Get no injuries, and they'll be fighting again in a few months.
But you've got to be, like you said, it could be a Bruno Saras moment because Munguia was winning that fight fairly cleanly.
Look, this is,
and then he got caught.
This is a one-sided fight, let's be honest.
Yeah. I think, like I said, if Janibek turns up, he's got the height reach advantage.
Like I say, they've picked a credible opponent. He picked a top 15 opponent. I think he's...
Well, his rating level similar to Mihailovic, so we've seen what happened there, and basically he could add him out in 1 or 2 rounds if he wanted to.
And I think he will get him out.
I think in this he's not going to be messing around. He can get him out of there fairly quick.
And he will do.
Anauel is tough, obviously unbeaten from the things, but I don't think he's ever been in against anybody.
Well, we don't know if he's tough, really, do we? I mean, French fighters are tough, to be fair, but... Look, Kanuly's going to take care of him pretty quickly. Move on. Stay active. I like it, they stay active. Okay, the opponent's not great. Maybe it's the best opponent he could find, and it's just keeping him busy while I'm waiting for the, undisputed.
I think it's Hamza Shiraz through that flying the ultimate in it, because I think they're going to have one each. I think he probably was going to have this warm up anyway, and then they were supposed to fight. That's going on, but obviously there's Adamas there, and who else? Lara. It's
another French guy there as well. There's another French kid in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a few fighters in there.
Who's in Billy?
Yeah, no, Billy's in the super middleweight.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's the one for Canelo's division, isn't he?
But Janibek, look, he's going to have far too much.
Fave, Chris Eubank Jr.
Shut up. Janibek, his jab, his work rate, his footwork, his speed, it's just going to be far too much for this kid. And
unless he has an off day, I don't
think he will. I think he'll take care of him quite easily. Yeah. He's Shait in Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
He's going to put on a show.
Yeah.
And he's going to take him out inside 3 rounds. Mm-hmm.
Bold prediction.
Yeah, easily.
Any chance? What do we think the chances of Anauel is? Only if Janibek doesn't turn up.
I think a 50.
Even if he doesn't turn up, I think he still gets hard. Because you just go back through his fights. Is all right, Mihailovic, but he was ranked. Vincenzo Gartieri, Stephen Butler, Denzel Bentley. It's
look. The problem is you don't know. I mean, I certainly don't know who this guy is from France.
Highlights, but you can't. It's like you said, you can't judge because his last fight was against somebody with 32 losses.
All I'm going off is how good Janibek is.
Yeah.
If this guy was as good, we'd have heard about him.
Yeah.
So that's what I don't think he is anywhere near that level yet. He might be ranked in the top 15, but let's be honest, the middleweight division outside the top 6 is poor.
Mm-hmm.
After the top 6, it does get really, really poor. Yes, it's got a great top 5, top 6, the middleweight division, but after that, it's not one of the...
I think there's a level or two drop.
It's not one of the strongest divisions in boxing right now.
It's strong from the top bit, but then after that,
it's pretty poor.
A fair bit.
So I think Janibek, just go in there, do what you need to do, knock him out, get out, and move on, and go for undisputed. For the other guy,
I've just got to say, Shiraz didn't lose; that he was a draw.
Yeah. The other guy, good luck. This is your big stage. I just don't.
Do you think this would be a shock on the level of, or even bigger than Bruno Saras and Jaime Munguia? I think so. Yeah, I agree.
Mate, It's for the IBF and WBO titles. It's a biggest. It'd be the biggest shock in boxing in the past 2 years. I reckon he's 100 to 1 outsider.
Actually, go on. Yeah, carry on. I'll check the odds, isn't it? See what
guaranteed. I reckon Hanuli is 1 to 50 on.
Not quite. It's 7 to 50 on, minus 700. It's closer than I thought. That's
You are
710.
joking.
And it's 9 to 2 for
9 to
Anauel.
2.
Yeah, this is a bit closer. Plus 450. I am quite surprised.
I think
by
the
that.
bookies have gone mad.
And based on
the bookies.
Box Lives is 100% for Janibek.
Yeah, the bookies are
75%.
scared because of what happened with Monkey. Yeah.
I think so. Underestimate these French fighters you've never heard of. On Box Live, it's basically 75% KO for Janibek and 25% decision.
That's what I'm going
it's
for.
It's a 100% ratio.
I'm going KO inside 3 rounds.
Okay, I'm going to go for KO round. So what are you saying? Give me a second.
KO inside 3. Either 1, 2 or 3.
I'm going to go for 6th round KO. I'm just assuming he's a bit tougher than what. But yeah, you could see like if some Mihailovic.
Like I say, I and all this is based
you
on.
might just want to get some rounds.
Yeah, all this is based on is just how good I think Janibek is. Not it's.
Do we think now that we've seen?
I might be completely wrong, and that this guy might be really, really good.
Number 2.
You know, but I'm just going on Janibek.
Yeah, I think on all the bit skills, everything else, Janibek experience, skills, and level. I think he's on a different level to there. Yeah, I'm giving him a few rounds because I think he could be quite tough, and he hasn't been beaten before, so you might give it a go. But yeah, I don't think he's. I think it's a good payday for him, and good to keep.
I bet
busy.
it's not even that good of a payday either, you know.
Yeah, well, it won't be in there, but it'll probably be a step up from fighting outside of there because they'll have flown and done, and Janibek is reasonable big name, and he's especially big in Kazakhstan, so and Astana is quite rich, so it's quite a nice place. So yeah, I can't really see any of that. Do we think Janibek's the best in that division now? Haven't seen Adamas and Shiraz.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see him? So assuming he comes through this as we're doing, who do we want to see him?
Adamas?
Yeah. And Adamas is his thing. You think his shares have gone up since we've seen his last fight?
Do you know what? I don't think people knew enough about Adamas.
Yeah.
If you spoke to proper boxing people, they did say good. He was awkward, tricky, good boxer.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shiraz is kind of falling off, hasn't he, a little bit now?
Do you think Shiraz needs to get ready and have him direct rematch, or needs to face somebody else, get a bit more experience?
I think Shiraz needs to look at his weight.
Yeah,
because he looks way too big.
Do you think he's in a class too low? Yeah,
way.
Well,
too
we've
big.
said that before, isn't it? Because he's quite a lot bigger than most.
I might be wrong. He might make the weight comfortably, but then I think was it a step too far? You know, you've got to go on. He broke his hand. You've got to go on that. Well, you don't have to go on that, but you know it does affect.
Well, that does give mitigating factor, doesn't it?
You know, so it'd be interesting to see what happens with Hamza Shiraz next. You know, does he come? You can't say does he come back with a warm up fight because he didn't lose. It was a draw, so he shouldn't have.
Well, if it's his hand, then it's recovery, and then you can have a.
He shouldn't be having.
He's still there.
He shouldn't be having a warm up fight. He should be going straight into a big fight straight away. Yeah. So let's see what happens there. But Janibek for me is number one in this division. I think he'll move on pretty quickly from this next fight and get
that sort of level of people. They're usually professional. They usually
should be pushing for another It means IBF, WBO. I think this is a voluntary defence? Possibly. So we'll see what happens after that.
Well, I think they arrange a fight with. Then the next one would be against one of the is for
One of the other champions.
Yeah. So maybe the Adames or Co. And then I think he wants to unify and undisputed. So that's the plan. So yeah. Okay. So what did we have? So we've got third round KO for
inside 3.
Inside 3, and 6 I've got, isn't it? For KO. Yeah. So yeah, let us know what you think. If you know any more about Anauel, then let us know. Do you think this is just keeping Janibek busy? Obviously, Anauel is rated, so do we see it going like the Mihailovic fight? Let us know what you think in the comments, and like and subscribe and all the usual goodness. And we shall see you in the next one. Thank you very much.